What's going on, YouTube world? It's CruiserNatn3 and my dog, Big Dawg Form. This is the first episode of the Dawg Cage Podcast. The topic of the day is who will win this year's NBA Finals. We got the big dog Jokic in the building. We got Steph Curry still in the building. We got James Harden, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Jalen Brunson, and that boy Jimmy Butler over there in Miami, and LeBron, Ramon James, and Anthony Davis still in the playoffs. This playoff is getting real shaky. The Philadelphia 76ers just tied the series up in overtime. The big heroics from James, Titty Man Harden came through with the 42-piece with the game-winning three ball to win the game and tie the series up at 2 after 2 bad playoff games back-to-back, drops 42 turns the clock back to the first game of the series. James Harden with a big-time performance today. So we're going to start with the Philadelphia 76ers and that series right there with Boston because that game just finished up about an hour ago. So Form, man, tuning in right now, man. We got the people in the booth. And everybody who tuning in, make sure you rattle that cage with a like and a subscribe and turn that notification button on, man. Appreciate y'all coming through the Dawg Cage, everybody that's in here. James Harden with a performance of the ages today to save their season. What's your take on that, Form?
I went back and watched the highlights after I ended my stream, and then I went back and watched the last. That game is like that's a huge momentum game for Philly because you can't lose both at the crib. But if I'm the Celtics, that's a coaching that's a game that your coaching lost for you. Because and my subs were kind of filling me in as we went along, but under no circumstances does Marcus Smart take the game-winning shot at the end of regulation and the game-winning shot at the end of OT. And from what I understand, they had timeouts left. But even if you don't have timeouts left, you guys have to have had at some break kind of talk between all your starters who are on the floor. If we get into this scenario, then this is what we need to go to get such and such the ball because it's not like we dealing with a rookie team. We dealing with a squad that's been to the they went to the finals last year. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a young team, but this is a veteran squad. So these are the type of games that can kind of kill your momentum and lose you that next game because you feel like you kind of let a game that you should have won get away. So if I'm the Celtics, I'm kind of pissed, you know what I'm saying, that we let this one get away. Not because we were terrible, but because the coaching staff didn't hold up their end of the deal. I think these playoffs is where this part of the playoffs is where you really find out, you know what I'm saying, what your team made of and how good your actual coaching is. Because the winner of this series is who I have going to the finals.
Okay, man, going into this, I think they had 2 timeouts left, and then Joe Mazzulla was saying something that the broadcaster was saying that he said he'd like to have 2 timeouts for the end of the game, but I felt like they should have they had used the timeout and got a better look because right before overtime, they let the play clock run again, and Marcus Smart got the shot before overtime. Tatum or Brown didn't get to take the shot before overtime or after overtime. So I think that was bad that he didn't draw up a play to try to get them boys the ball. Getting down here, they was down by 1. They could have drove to the rim, got a foul call maybe, or a layup or something close to the rim. I think that was bad by him to hold on to them timeouts. You can't take them home with you. I think that was bad, man. I think they had a chokehold on this, and they had a 5-point lead in the fourth quarter before overtime, and they blew that there. They let James Harden come down the lane and get a nice layup. They let him get to his dominant hand. I think that was bad on them, and I think Jaylen Brown, when he was on him, he's been good. But I think when they switch, I think he gave up the switch instead of just sticking to it and getting back on James Harden. He let Malcolm Brogdon stay on him because that's who he was hunting for. He was hunting for Malcolm Brogdon because he's been giving him the work all game. And I think, man, they could have won this game before overtime. I felt like down the stretch, they had 2 bad defensive sequences that hurt the game.
Yeah, I feel like down the stretch, they just did a terrible job of getting into their sets late. You know what I'm saying? Usually when you get somebody, because if I'm Philly, I want Marcus Smart taking that shot because we can play him one-on-one. We don't have to double team him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody essentially, if Marcus Smart, if the ball is in his hand, we can face guard Tatum and Brown, and then we got the best big man defender in Embiid right behind us to protect the basket. So essentially, we can let Marcus Smart do what he wants because, I mean, if we being real, he's not somebody since his college days. He's not somebody who's going to attack the basket, and he's not going to draw that type of foul from the refs that late in the stretch. If you get a ball to a Tatum or a Brown, you know what I'm saying, proven all-stars, they're going to get them calls that you get down the stretch. They're going to get the forced double teams where you got to make the swing and you can get some rotation and some reverse ball movement and things like that. You're not going to get that with Marcus Smart. So if he got the ball in his hands, if I'm the Sixers, I'm telling everybody to stay home, don't double. And if we lose because of Marcus Smart, I'm cool with that.
Man, that's big. Right now the series 2-2. I'm trying to see before the playoffs started, I was rolling with Philly, but I wasn't liking some things I was seeing from Philly going back to the Brooklyn series. It was some things that I didn't like with Philly offense. And then as this series is going on, I still don't like some things that I'm seeing with Philly. I think the offense get a little bit stagnant when Joel Embiid is on the court. Not saying they're not better, but the offense get a little bit stagnant because they're trying to feed him the ball. And you can tell he's not 100% healthy as it is. I think when Joel is off the court, they got a little bit better flow spacing, and the other guys can kind of get off. Tobias Harris plays a little bit better. Tyrese Maxey continues to get downhill a little bit better. I feel like when Joel Embiid on the court, this ain't saying they better, but they floor spacing better. And I think the other guys is empowered to attack and get downhill and play a little bit and get to their one-on-one game. And the ball moves a little bit better when Joel Embiid's not on the court. What you think of that, Form?
Yeah, I agree. They definitely they're not a better team because without Embiid, this team probably they are 8 seed if not even a play-in team that just doesn't make it. But I think the thing with Embiid is you do have to slow the pace down when you have any type of dominant big man outside of a Jokic because they initiate a lot of offense through Jokic. But when you have a dominant big man, you have to slow your pace down, especially one like Embiid, because you really don't want to put Embiid into a ton of high pick and rolls because usually dominant big men aren't really in the high pick and roll game like that. You want to drop them the ball. You want to try because he got to the line 15 times. So that's what you want. You want to be able to get the other team's bigs in foul trouble, slow the pace down, and then you can have your guard. I think that their biggest issue is Maxey. Like Maxey being a third option, he has to be a little bit more consistent, you know what I'm saying, and how he picks his spots because as the third option, you're not going to get a chance to just go. You don't got the green light like Harden and Embiid do. So you have to be able to pick your spots when you can attack, and then you got to be efficient in those spots. But again, Tyrese being a young guy, you expect him to struggle a bit in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I did pick the Sixers to go to the finals. I also said that the Celtics and the Sixers was more of a toss-up series.
Yeah.
I expected the winner of this series to go to the finals. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a two-team race in the East anyway between these two teams. So I really wouldn't be surprised whoever come out on the end. But the series is always going to come down to what it comes down to. Whose superstar is going to play the best? And what I noticed in this series, the Celtics have a slight edge because their superstar is doing the small things that it takes to win games. Tatum didn't have a bad game, 9 of 20 from the field, but those 18 rebounds is huge from a small forward. Like it takes so much pressure off your bigs who are already fighting with Embiid every play that all they got to do is just put a body on Embiid, and the guards is going to help rebound, which actually speeds up the pace of the game because it allowed them to get into their sets a little bit quicker. So when you got dudes like Taysom who recognize that, and then they kind of take some of that pressure off, and they put pressure on the defense. Because if I'm getting it off the glass as a guy like Taysom, I can beat Embiid up the court. And you know what I'm saying? That opens up the offense a lot for us as far as getting to the basket. While Embiid is still getting back down. So if Taysom can do small things like that, you know what I'm saying, which a lot of people may not recognize, that things like that can kind of turn a series around for a team.
Okay, then. Hey, man, we got some people in the chat, man. We got 7 people in here, man. Appreciate everybody in, man. If you haven't, man, make sure y'all hit that like. You know what I mean? Hit that like right on that cage for us. And if any of y'all, I just dropped the link in the chat. If y'all feel like y'all want to come up, man, y'all come up and give y'all opinion on the situation. But we're going to switch on to another team, the surprise team form that we can all agree, the 8th seed in the East, the Miami Heat, man. I don't understand this team. I don't see how they do it. We looked at the regular season and we thought this team was done. They barely they lost to Atlanta Hawks in the play-in. They had to play the last play-in game. They won that game to get the 8th spot, man. But to do this year in and year out, and since Jimmy Butler been there, I think since 2020 was his first year in the bubble. Was that his first year? Or 19?
It might have been 19.
Okay, 19. He's always I think he right now is 2-1 versus Milwaukee now. In the playoffs, they always, before Giannis got hurt in that game, they was up. Giannis played 11 minutes that first round series. They was up. Man, for some reason, man, this guy gets these. Eric Spoelstra, man, is one of the best coaches in the NBA to me, man. He gets his guys to play on the defensive side of the ball. Some of these guys out there, you wouldn't even know their name, where they come from, what college they went to. Some of these guys, G League guys, man, and for them to go out there each night and lay it on the line, I think they should be up 3-0. They let one get away in New York without Jimmy buckets down the stretch, man. I think they played a good game. They let that one get away, so now they in complete control of the series, up 2-1. And what you think form of this Miami Heat team going up against this New York team?
I mean, I would be remiss I've said this before. If we get a healthy Giannis throughout the series, Miami doesn't win that series, but it's the playoffs, so that's just how the game go. People get injured, people get hurt. You still got to play through it. So Miami took advantage, won the series as they were supposed to. The New York series first is great to see the matchup because it's an old rivalry renewed. If you watch any 90s, early 2000s basketball, that New York-Miami rivalry is one of the best rivalries in the league. So it's nice to see that rivalry renewed. It's more of a toss-up series than a lot of people would think because those teams are the same. Like, they're built a lot of the same way. You know what I'm saying? They got 2 hard-nosed coaches who a lot of what they care about is just defense and hard work, and Spoelstra and Thibodeau. You know what I'm saying? They have really good players, but nobody like Jimmy is a playoff superstar, but a star in a regular season. You know what I'm saying? He take it to another level. And this series could easily be a 2-1 the other way because a lot of people forget Julius Randle missed game 1 for the Knicks.
Yeah, he did.
And they still made it a close game. So this could be a 2-1 series either way. But like, again, when you're talking about a team like Miami, you really don't know what's coming from that team. Like, you really don't know outside of Jimmy who's going to get your next bucket. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to step up, whether it's going to be a hero, Duncan Robinson hits the 7 threes out of nowhere. So that's low key. It helps them, but it's also one of the things that makes them super inconsistent and why they are 8 seed even coming into the playoffs. It's how inconsistent they stars can be. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win this series. Again, this is outside of, I want to say both of these series in the East are toss-up series, but I think it's obvious that Philadelphia Celtics series, that winner is probably going to go to the finals because I don't think Miami doesn't have the firepower to stick with, you know what I'm saying, each of those teams.
Hey, since Khalil done asked us about this, so we're gonna answer this. We're gonna switch to this real quick. Khalil asked us what y'all think of the Darvin Ham adjustment last night. The adjustment that he made was putting the adjustment I'm thinking you think about was putting Austin Reeves at the point of attack, and once they've got the switch, they can get Vanderbilt on the Steph Curry. Is that the adjustment you thinking about? That's one small wrinkle that I seen.
Yeah, he made a couple. Was Walker played a lot more?
Oh yeah. Lonnie Walker played a lot.
Lonnie Walker played a lot more. Rui didn't play as much.
He took over Thomas Bryant, Tony Brown. Thomas.
You talking about the big that they got rid of?
No. Tony Brown. I think he's still on the team. I forgot.
Yeah, Brown. Yeah, I think them going small ball, I think in general might be what Khalil talking about was a great move because it gives you a little bit more versatility in how you can defend Steph Curry. Because one of the big adjustments that the Golden State made in game 2 is they put the ball more in Steph Curry's hand. And if you watch game 2, Steph Curry was more of a point guard than he's ever been. Like game 2, he was pushing tempo, breaking down the defense. He was getting a lot of what my coach used to call hockey assists. He would make the correct play, which led to another pass that led to a bucket. So I think coming into game 3, I think they wanted to make it so out of that pick and roll game, Curry could not get as many switch offs as he did previously. And putting people like Vanderbilt on Draymond because Vanderbilt has played great defense on Curry.
Yeah. So
it eliminated that 1-4 pick and roll that 1-4 high pick and roll that they love to go to. Yeah. It limited that. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm Curry, you really don't want that switch.
Yeah.
And then I think also a lot of it actually took Draymond out of the play a lot because a lot of what the Lakers like to do is they'll just put Vanderbilt in the corner. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a Vanderbilt guard, if Draymond sticks Vanderbilt, he essentially is just sitting in a corner playing help side D. You know what I'm saying? He's not the point man in that defense like he usually is. And it kind of opened up the game for them a lot to get into their offense. And it helped a lot that Russell got in his bag early in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, man.
So it took a lot of pressure off that team. And the one thing about this series that people got to relax on, Golden State was very last in the NBA in free throws. They are not a free throw shooting team. They do not get to the line a lot. So in the playoffs, where they call even less fouls, and the game is even more condensed and physical, they're not going to get to the line. So the free throw discrepancy is not as big a difference if you watch Golden State and you know that they don't get to the line anyway.
Yeah.
They beat you with the 3 ball and the pressure they put on the defense. So with that being said, they're not a physical team. So AD and Bron don't have to exert as much energy. With Bron not having to be the focal point of that offense, you can see it more with him off the ball.
Yeah.
He's way more engaged defensively with block shots. He's on that help line, hedging, etc. So like this is gonna be a good series. I got this one going
7.
I wouldn't be surprised either way, but right now I got Lakers in 6.
Okay. That's what I got Lakers in 6 too, unless I think Golden State, this is a must win this next game for them. I think what coach should do, but I don't know how they feel. I'm not in their practices, but one adjustment I think they probably could make is putting Kuminga in because he's the athletic ability. Because Looney is basically played out of this series, man. Because they playing so much off of Looney. So Looney ain't gonna be as effective. I think they can go Kuminga a little bit more minutes. His athletic ability can get off the floor a little bit more quicker. Just to bother AD a little bit. You ain't gonna stop AD, but to be able to crash the glass a little bit. I think Andrew Wiggins need to be a little bit more aggressive. Pool minutes need to come down, and I think they need to attack more. When they get in the paint, I don't think they using their body and their strength enough to go up. They going up soft. AD jumping, they getting him off the air. I think if they can get their body into him a little bit and get a little bit of contact, they might get a little bit of fouls. And I think Steph Curry need to go with the overhand floater instead of the underhand. They timing that up too good.
Yeah, I think their biggest issue though is that they can't take Looney out.
Yeah.
Because if you take Looney out, if you put Kuminga on AD gonna have 50 and 30. Because even though he's really athletic, he's small in comparison. So if you take a guy like Kuminga and you take Looney out and then you go small ball like that, essentially Draymond would have to go to AD.
Yeah.
And if you put Draymond on AD, he's too small for AD because essentially Draymond, like they say 6'8", Draymond about 6'6".
Yeah.
And he's a really small guy. And the thing about Draymond is if Draymond gets in foul trouble, that's really gonna hurt them defensively.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened last night.
Yeah, they in a tough spot in general because as long as AD is motivated, and that's always a big if, that's their biggest problem is how to defend him. Because he is like, regardless of how he's been offensively, throughout these playoffs, he's been dominant defensively.
He averaging 4 blocks a game.
Yeah, he's controlling that paint. You know what I'm saying? He's hedging out well on guards. Like, so AD, there's really nothing that Golden State can do about AD. Their biggest problem, honestly, right now is they have to find a way to contain D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, yes.
Because Brian gonna do what Brian do.
Yeah.
He gonna give you it right now, 21 to 25.
Yep.
9 to 10 rebounds, 7 to 8 assists. That's you can lock that in. You don't have an answer for AD. Your biggest answer for AD is how motivated AD is gonna be. But if you can take D'Angelo Russell out of the game and kind of put a little bit more pressure on the other guys on this team to kind of play a little bit better, because Reeves has been struggling a bit in this series too.
Chasing Steph around. I knew he was going to struggle.
Yeah, so if you can put take him out of the game, maybe double team and get the ball out of his hands, I really don't see how you can double team him with the weapons off the ball, because this is probably the most we've seen LeBron James play off ball.
Yeah.
So, and the answer, Khalil, yeah, they definitely missing Wiseman right now. He wouldn't stop AD, but that gives you an athletic 6'10" guy to kind of help you out, because AD would have his way with him on the block, but he could play him a lot better when AD faces up, which is their biggest issue. When AD chooses to face up Looney and drive, and you see him with the bump fades and things of that nature, there's nothing they can do with that. Yeah. Like AD, like I said, when he's healthy and motivated, talent-wise, he a top 3 talent in the league.
Yeah, man. 80 big time, man. Hey, man, another series we're going to go to, Form, we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. The other night, they had a thing go on. DeAndre Ayton, I guess, got into a spat with Chris Paul. I don't know the ins and outs of what happened. I guess Chris Paul tried to dap him up and he didn't like it. They've been beefing ever since last year. My thing with DeAndre Ayton is, man, and I made a video about this, man. I don't like his energy, his effort to be that big. He don't show enough fight, enough grit, enough hustle to impact the game when things ain't going his way. I think Landale is not athletic like Ayton. He probably not even close to being superior. He can't stop Nikola Jokic, but his effort, his energy, sometimes that's what you need in a team. Some guys who gonna give effort. And I see too many times when guys shooting the ball and I see DeAndre Ayton just stand underneath the rim and just look like this. He don't try to box out. He don't try to fight over, swim, get in position. He just let guys push him out. And if he don't get the rebound, he just going back downfield. Down the court, man. What you think? What's your thoughts on this Suns? What they dealing with Ayton with?
I mean, that's gonna be Chris Paul getting hurt is a lot bigger than people may realize. But when you got a guy like Ayton's defense a lot of the time is based off how many touches he's getting offensively.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's one of there's been guards, it's been bigs like that. Shaq was one of those guys. Okay. If you don't give me my touches, then I'm not finna go down here and play defense like that. Ayton is kind of one of those guys. He's not a 25-point game, 25 to 30 a night like Shaq, but he wants to be involved in the offense, and that energizes him to play on the defensive end. The problem is you don't have a point guard anymore to make sure because Chris Paul knows, got to make sure I get DA his touches so I can keep him mentally involved in the game. I guarantee you that's what they spat was about. Yeah. Chris Paul trying to get him mentally to lock in, and AD frustrated because you essentially at this point with no Chris Paul on the floor, you just got two guys who know how to get a bucket.
Yep.
If you watch that stat line, Book had 49, with some 47.
And KD had
39. And then nobody else did shit.
They ain't have nobody.
Nobody else had I don't think nobody else was in double digits. So it's not that KD and Book can't pass, but in a down 2-0, needing to win that game, their mind state is, I need to get a bucket every time I touch this ball. Y'all follow me, play defense, and we'll carry us to this win. But when you got a guy like DA, he want his 7 to 10 touches or 10 to 15 shots. He want to be involved in that it's not a high pick and roll, but that free throw line extended pick and roll where he get the pops in the mid range and that energizes him to play a lot better. But when you remove somebody who is that good at getting everybody a shot like Chris Paul is, other people are going to, be a casualty of that. And right now, DA a casualty of that.
The other night, Kevin Durant jumper wasn't falling for him, but I like what he did, man. His jumper, his three ball ain't been going for him this series for some reason. His midi was off the other night, but he did start to get downhill and attack. And this is the first time for him that his dribble looked a little bit more tighter going to the rim, and the way he attacked. I really ain't seen that KD since 2021 when he was by himself, when James Harden was on that bum hamstring and Kyrie got hurt versus Giannis. Kevin Durant went downhill with force the other night, and I think that helped them because they needed him because he started off horrible. He was not hitting his midi that he normally hit. But he found other ways to impact the game. He played good defense. I know he got smashed on, but who ain't been smashed on? I like his effort on the defensive end. I think he got like 9 rebounds, 8 assists. So I think he found different ways to affect the game when his shot wasn't falling. What's your take on that, Form?
I think I actually thought KD just that he don't look 100% healthy. So that was what I was thinking. Like maybe he got a nagging injury because it looked like he was having trouble. I seen his jump shot got blocked. I can't remember if it was game 1 or 2.
Yeah.
In the Nugget series, but his jump shot got blocked. And that's something you never see. You never see KD's jump shot get blocked. So once I seen that, then I'm like, he's not really attacking the basket. It looked like he's settling for jumpers a bit more. I just thought, he hasn't 100% healed from whatever injury he was coming back off of leading into the playoffs. That game, it looked like it was just one of those games where he just sucked it up. Like, if we lose this game, essentially we lose the series. So I expect to see the same effort in game 4. I expect the Suns to win this and tie it up, 2-2?
Yeah, 2-2.
Get it back to Denver.
Damn, Form. You going out there like that? You expect them to win tonight, Form?
Yeah, I expect them to win tonight. I'm not somebody who trusts Denver. Like, as just as inconsistent as a lot of teams are with their superstars. Yeah. Denver is the same way. Outside of Jokic. Jokic is a dog. He had 28, 17, and 17
man.
The other night. So he a different animal. But his surrounding cast are as inconsistent as you can get.
Yeah. I think he averaged 28, 14, and 9 this playoffs, man. So, man, he doing his thing, man. I like what I'm seeing from Jokic, man. He getting his teammates involved, and he ups his scoring in the playoffs. Jokic always do that. His shooting goes up a little bit more. He's in more of an aggressive attack mode at the same time, getting the other guys involved, man. So, yeah, man, I think the injury to the Chris Paul was almost like a blessing in disguise. They don't need Chris Paul if they have any chance of winning. But what I'm saying is it forced Monty Williams to go deep into their bench. TJ Warren hit a big 3 down the stretch, hit a big 2. And Terrence Ross, even though he was 1 for 6, he was getting clean looks. And Terrence Ross normally knocked those down. So I think tonight at home, those guys going to have the second game behind them where they know they're getting minutes. So I think they might be a little bit more pumped up. And I think KD tonight, to me, what I've been thinking, I think KD them going to have a guy who nobody expect come up big tonight and give them big points tonight for them to be able to win this game.
Yeah, more than likely it'll be a TJ Warren because TJ Warren is a proven scorer in the league. I remember, I want to say it was the bubble year when he was with Indiana. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely been somebody who's dropped 50 in the league before. he's a proven commodity as far as getting a bucket. We already know Terrence Ross is a J.R. Smith type model.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He needs shots to kind of get into a rhythm and get going. So I feel like he'll probably have a better game, but definitely if anybody on that team steps up, it'll be a TJ Warren type guy. But I think
TJ's feet still hurting for him. You can tell the way he's running, man. His feet like it's still hurting a little bit. Well, maybe I'm tripping what I'm looking at. Maybe just
it's the playoffs. You know, everybody hurt.
Yeah.
I think what's gonna help them the most is Devin Booker has individually been the best player in the playoffs this year.
Oh my God. What is averaging for him? 36, 6, and 5.
He and that's making it so it's gonna once KD gets into a rhythm. I picked the Suns to win it all.
Hold on, Form. Wait, I don't want to cut you off right there, Form. You mean with this team here?
Yeah, this was before Chris Paul got injured.
Okay. You thought
his injury kind of it makes it a bit tougher on them, especially if they have to run into like the Lakers. Because if DA don't want to play against Jokic, he damn sure ain't gonna want to play against AD with no touches.
Yeah.
And the Lakers arguably have a deeper roster than Denver does. So
man, going back to what you said about KD, his injury, that's what I said earlier. I'm gonna just go back to last year for him when they got swept. People forget he was coming off the same injury, the MCL injury, and he came with like 3 games left and they was in the play-in. Remember, they won that game, got the 7th spot, and they lost. Coming into this year, he got traded. He had the MCL sprain in Miami when Jimmy Butler fell on his knee. He came back and then played 3 games, and then had rolled his ankle, so he missed another month with that. I think it's just like last year when he got swept. I don't think KD, like you said, I don't think he's getting there, but I don't think he's all the way back healthy. And if they can stay in long enough, I think KD jump shot, and he'll be better if they can find some kind of way to stay in the series long enough to get him. Because after last game, I kind of seen something in KD where I feel like, man, if they can stay a little bit longer, fight a little bit longer, that he'll get his shot back. And with Devin Booker, man, if they get their team and some other guys going and some kind of way get DA going, man, they can be tough, like you said, for him.
I mean, the game, basketball in general, is just about averages. If they can extend this game 7 games, the longer they can extend the series, the better chance that Phoenix has to win. Because then you get your guys a chance to come back. You know what I'm saying? If they win this game tonight, and Chris Paul doesn't play, he probably doesn't play game 5 either. If they lose tonight, you'll probably see Chris Paul game 5. Okay. Because, you know what I'm saying, taking both at home and then heading back to Denver.
Yeah.
To keep it a buck, most teams, you damn near lose that game a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, so I think they would probably play it a little bit more cautious, rest Chris Paul, and then bring him back and try to take 6 and then try to take that last game in Denver for 7.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they definitely want to extend this series as long as they can to kind of get their guys healthy and get them in rhythm. But they in a good spot. As long as they win this game, they in a good spot. I mean, it's not a real playoff series until somebody loses at home. So
I see the other night, Form, did you watch that game before the game Chris Paul got hurt? Game 2?
Yeah.
All right, Form. They was up 4 or 5 before when he got hurt. But, man, Chris Paul was having one of those games where he couldn't miss. He had Nikola Jokic in the blender. He was drop coverage. He was getting to that midi. He was hitting that shot. I thought they could, as good as they played defensively, that game KD shot horrible. 1 for 12 from 3. I mean, just terrible. And they still was right there. I think if Chris Paul don't get hurt, they could possibly be up 2-1 right now in this series.
Oh, yeah.
I think they got enough. If they can get Chris Paul back, because like you said, it's just something about Denver that those other guys I don't trust. And Michael Porter Jr., one of those guys too, like you were just talking about Aiden, he veers off if his shot ain't going. He don't rebound. He don't play good defense. If his shot is not going, he is not engaged in the game at all. Michael Porter Jr. And he got the talent.
Yeah, I mean, he got superstar level talent. He just don't have superstar level motor. And when you just go back on you said, when you got a guy like Chris Paul, who's such a wizard as a point guard, he's gonna find ways to keep Jokic in that pick and roll and not let him go hide off on players. And then it allows him to attack, possibly get Jokic in foul trouble, get him off the floor, and then when he does get those switches, that's what opens the game up for DA to do his thing. So, as much as a lot of people want to say, "Oh, Chris Paul old," they're fine. They're not fine without Chris Paul because he's what a guy like KD has been missing his whole career. It's just an individual who can take care of everything else on the floor offensively. Yeah. And then all KD got to do is do what he do best and get buckets. He don't have to worry about keeping other people involved in the game and making sure he feeds egos and get people shots, because that's what he had to do in OKC. He got a reprieve from it in Golden State, and they won 2 ships. Yeah. Then he was thrown back in the fire with Harden and them. So this situation for him is probably the best situation he's been in Golden State, because he get to do what he does best, and that's when people tell him, KD, go get us 30. Yeah. So they definitely need Chris Paul to kind of make this last run, because I don't think that like Book and KD just alone with that cast can't win them a championship.
Hey, so what you think? Okay, then. All right. Oh yeah. Landry Shamet. Hey, JJ, Landry Shamet, man. I've been on him. He never get good plays. He never hit shots when you need him to hit shots. For him to be a 3-ball sniper, he never hit shots when it's time for the hit shots. When the ball go up in it, and I know he got it. I'm not even looking. I don't even think it's going in. Landry Shamet, but Form. With Chris Paul in a lineup, say he gets back, do you think that, say they play the Lakers, do you think that they can give the Lakers a run?
Oh yeah. Yeah, whenever, like, if you got KD and Book, you give anybody a run. You know what I'm saying? Because with them two on the floor, that's 30 and 30. That's 60 right there. Yeah. Possibly more. So it's not a ton of pressure on everybody else. Like, Chris Paul is going to give you 10 to 15. And with Chris Paul in the game, DA is going to give you 10 to 15. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that means this guy can give you 4, get 8 over here. Like, it takes the pressure off a lot of teams. I don't like the matchup now, even though I had the Suns going all the way with a healthy Chris Paul. Yeah, but if he's limping into that series, I don't like it, because I think this is probably just depth wise, this is the best team LeBron has ever had. Like, period. Because if you look at the Miami team was real top heavy. Yeah, LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, and then at one point they signed Eddie Curry, Greg Oden, Mike Bibby, like they were signing anybody to just fill out that roster. Yeah, you're right. Even if you go to Cleveland was actually a good team. You know what I'm saying? The first year or so they had Richard Jefferson with Love and Kyrie, but after Kyrie left, it went to shit. But this is probably the deepest roster he's ever had. Even at 38, it allows his body to kind of just rest a little bit more. You got AD. I've been said Vanderbilt was probably their best pickup because of the versatility that he brings. Then you got a guy like Russell, who can be a knockdown shooter. I think he shot over 40% from 3 this year. And those are the best kind of players who can play with Brian, is people who can stretch the D with the 3-point ball, and then when needed, they can go get a bucket of their own. And then they still got knockdown shooters like Beasley. Troy Brown, he been a bit mid, you know what I'm saying, in the playoffs. Yeah. You got a guy like Austin Reeves who still can get you 15 or 20 any night. Yeah, he can. So I think this is the most. He's never had this many options from a scoring perspective on his team, and people who can individually. Russell, Reeves, AD do not need LeBron to get a bucket. They all got the ability to get a bucket on their own. And that's
Lonnie Walker too, Form.
Yeah, Lonnie. But only thing about Lonnie is he could be reckless. You know what I'm saying? He could be real wild. and real reckless. Like what JJ just said, I feel like this is probably CP3's best and last chance to get him a ring, because I genuinely feel like if the Suns don't win it this year, based off this ongoing issue with DA, they probably get rid of him. So I do feel like this is their best chance to win, because I don't think we'll ever see the NBA in flux like this again. Like, this is the first year that I can remember in a very long time where there is no team in the playoffs who's the favorite to win the championship.
Yeah, you're right.
There's not one, even from when the playoffs first started, there is not one team in the playoffs where you was like, I bet money they win it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is gonna be CP3's better, because I don't think you ever see the league in flux like this as far as variety and stuff in the league.
Yeah, this been a good playoffs, man. Man, the crazy thing is LeBron was a 7th seed, Golden State was a 6th seed, Miami an 8th seed. Man, it's crazy, man, that we can possibly have a 7th seed make it to the NBA Finals and possibly win a ring.
Yeah, and play an 8th seed in the finals.
Yeah, you're right.
The Lakers, Miami is actually very viable that a 7-8 seed can meet in the finals.
That'll be the first time in NBA history. I think the last team was the 5th seed. Was it the Houston Rockets in 95, right? For them?
Yeah, they were a 6th seed.
They were 6th seed, 95, yeah. Dang. Man.
So it is, and you got to think, what is the Suns are what, a 4 or 5 seed? It's not like this. Yeah, it's not even like they're a high seed.
No, they're not.
So I don't remember the last time where we had a 4, 6, and a 7 this deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, they normally gone by now.
Yeah, so
yeah, man, it's crazy. This is a weird. Yeah, man, experience winning playoffs this year. Yeah, you're right, Dan. Experience will win the playoff this year. I think it's looking like it, man. I don't want to count Steph Curry them out. Before we wrap this up, Form, man, we're gonna go run down the series and we get your prediction. So we're gonna start off with we was just talking about your prediction as of right now. Who you think win the Lakers Golden State series?
I got the Lakers winning the series.
Okay.
Because I just don't feel like Golden State, they look uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? They look uncomfortable in they sets. They don't have any confidence attacking the basket. They don't but outside of Jordan Poole, who's been Steph Curry. He can get to the basket, but when you got a guy like AD down there and LeBron, who can jump and protect that basket, nobody looks comfortable attacking. Everybody looks like they cool with settling for the 3, which is why they're not drawing fouls. They're not drawing fouls, which is why they're not getting to the line. Wiggins got the poster, but outside of that, I can't remember a play where Golden State got downhill and outside of maybe a floaty from Steph Curry, where they looked like they knew they were going to get a bucket. Like when you see an AD drive, when you see LeBron drive and those guys drive, there's a physicalness in which they play with where they know they're going to finish, because there's nobody under that. There's nobody on Golden State who's a rim protector that can protect that basket. Kevin Looney's a great rebounder, but he's not a rim protector.
No, he's not at all.
Draymond is a great help side defender and all that. A decent, very good on ball defender, not a rim protector. So I think that's the biggest difference. The Lakers have shown they can shoot the 3, but they still can draw fouls, get to the basket, get to the line, and slow that game down, which is like the biggest key to beating a team like Golden State, is to slow that pace down. You slow that pace down, slow down how many 3-pointers they get up, and you can somewhat manage and control that game. And that's what the Lakers did in the second half. So I expect them to win Game 4 in LA. That's going to be a huge game, though.
Yeah.
I expect them to win Game 4 in LA. lose a game 5, close it out. You know what I'm saying? Game
Back
6. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, I said the same thing. I said that earlier today to somebody who can win 2 in a row. I thought was gonna win the series. I don't know, man. For some reason, man, I think Steph might need to, instead of asking for the pick, I think Steph need to start to get his offense going a little bit. He might need to start ISO on some of these guys and getting his shot off like that. What you think?
I mean, he can get it out the ISO. I think his biggest problem is they don't have to respect Curry's drive. You know what I'm saying? You can funnel anybody on Golden State to the basket. Yeah. And AD is going to be there, and then you always got to watch LeBron on those weak side blocks. So he needs the pick and roll, not because he can't break down his defender, but he needs the pick in order to space the floor out and get pieces moving so he can find lanes. If you just have him working out of isolation, then the whole defense is locked, keyed in on him on that 3-point line. So you kind of have to move him around, keep him moving, coming off pin downs and things like that to get him in a rhythm. Another issue they having is the off and on with Clay. You know what I'm saying? And Draymond, not in Poole.
Yeah.
Is the hot and cold moments. Like I called it game 2. I said, y'all gonna get a game 6 performance. A game 6 Clay was what they call them. You're gonna get that type of performance out of game 2 because it's no way they can lose both games and Golden State. They too bad of a road team.
Yeah.
To be able to lose 2 at home and go win 2 on the road.
Yeah.
So I knew that performance you was gonna get out of them, and then I expected them to get blown out in game 3. Game 4 is the game where both teams are a bit settled. The Lakers are on a high, and then the Warriors are going to be desperate. And a team that's desperate, they take it to another level.
Yeah.
So it's going to be on the Lakers to kind of match that intensity. But these are the games where you got to be weary of, because these are the games where AD don't show up.
Yeah. You're right about that, man. You're right about that. So we're gonna move on to the next series. I think we just talked about. We just giving our predictions here. So I think the Lakers gonna pull this series out too as well. This series here, the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. I think the Denver probably gonna beat Phoenix. Man, I don't got my confidence in the Suns right now. I think Denver probably gonna close them out. I think if the Suns can win tonight, Suns might get themselves a chance. But to me, I'm kind of out on them because Chris Paul injury. So I think Denver might finish this series or get rid of him in 6.
No CP3. Denver in 5 or 6, yeah. Healthy CP3. I had Phoenix in 6, but no CP3 is gonna be tough on them, which is actually a worse thing for the Lakers, because I think the Lakers match up a lot better with Phoenix than they do with Denver.
Hold on, Form. Go back. Hold on. What make you? But don't Jokic struggle versus athletic bigs?
Yeah, but they won't have. They probably won't put Jokic on AD. They probably won't. The one thing that Denver does have, they got size on that team. Yeah, they got a lot of big bodies, and you can afford to take a Aaron Gordon and put him on AD, and then kind of let Jokic type roam.
Okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying? And try to take the face-up game away from AD, which you do when you put an Aaron Gordon on him, and then you force him to kind of play against their big bodies. I still would like the Lakers in that series, but I think the matchup, because just as they don't have anybody for AD, the Lakers don't have anybody for what Jokic does. You know what I'm saying? The way he controls the game offensively, I think, and then what the Nuggets do have, they have really good guards. You know what I'm saying? They got good guard play. Aaron Gordon is a really good serviceable 3.
Mm-hmm.
So they match up decently enough with the Lakers, where the Lakers' size don't really bother the Nuggets like it would bother Phoenix, because KD got to go LeBron. Don't have to go KD though.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt can go KD.
You're right. But I think they will bring Torrey Craig back in for LeBron.
Yeah, they would. But again, Torrey Craig is what? 6'5"?
Ain't Torrey Craig like 6'7"?
Because I mean, when I look, I've never looked him up, but when I look at him, he just doesn't look like physically imposing.
Yeah. I thought he was 6. I could be wrong. I thought he was 6'7". What
They
is?
got him marked at 6'7".
Okay, yeah.
6'7", 215. And then you got LeBron at what, 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 240. So even if you bring a Torrey Craig, LeBron still defensively doesn't have to respect Torrey Craig.
Yeah, you're right.
So he can still play float. He can still float.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they in that Nugget series, he kind of has to respect Aaron Gordon because Aaron Gordon does so much for them. You know, slasher, finisher. He does a good job helping on rebounding. You know what I'm saying? Improved 3-point shooter, not great, but
yeah,
he does enough that he would hold LeBron's attention more than a guy like a Craig would.
Okay, then. Man, so then we're gonna move on now to the Boston Philly series. Who you have out of that series?
I already picked 76ers.
76ers.
So I'm gonna ride with him, but I don't like what I'm seeing from Embiid. I feel like he's settling too much.
Yeah.
I expect Boston to take game 5 handedly. So we'll see what the Sixers come out with in game 6. You know what I'm saying? If they can kind of put something together, but it ain't looking the best because Embiid, I don't think he's healthy. Yeah. And then I don't think they expected for Maxey to struggle this much, which I don't understand why, because perimeter-wise, the Celtics are probably the best team left in the playoffs as far as perimeter defense.
Yeah.
They got 3 really good perimeter defenders, and Tatum don't get enough credit for his perimeter defense, but Tatum, Smart, and Brown, and then Bogdan is not a bad perimeter defender either.
Devin White neither.
Yeah, Devin White, and then Horford is probably one of the best big man defenders all around in the league. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of giving Philadelphia a lot more issues with Maxey struggling like he is.
Okay. And then the last series we're gonna talk about is the Miami Heat. Who you got coming out this series? I think the Heat gonna do business with these boys. I just think, man, the Heat got Jimmy Butler, man, and I think they're doing a good job on Jalen Brunson, keying in on him. They're doing a pretty good job kind of throwing bodies at him and keeping him out of the paint. And then whenever he does get in the paint to get to his little spin movie like in the paint, I think Bam Adebayo doing a good job of hovering over him and getting to the spot and beat him to that spot to help out. So I'm gonna roll with the Miami Heat to close out this series in 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Heat. I'm gonna go Heat in 6 because I think New York gets one more in New York because it's just gonna be rocking. Yeah. So I expect the Heat to close them out in 6 just because Thibodeau teams, they kind of break down a lot in the playoffs. If you historically, if you watch him, he just plays his starters even during the season. He plays them entirely too much, and then they have a tendency to kind of wear down as the season goes on. The deeper the run they make, the more his teams kind of wear down, and then they end up fizzling out. Same thing is gonna happen with the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Thibodeau's gonna be able to take them so far, but just his style of play. His style of coaching generally doesn't win championships because your roster is a bit more broad during the playoffs, and then you kind of trim it down. His rotation is trimmed from start to finish, and you're starting to see it looks like the Knicks are wearing down a bit, which is a terrible thing to happen against a team like the Heat, who are probably in shape wise, probably the most in shape team in the league because that's the staple of Miami. They just work.
Pat Riley ain't having it, man. Pat Riley got you on a diet, condition in shape, man. Pat Riley, old school, man. But I want to thank everybody, man. We're going to close up the first episode of the Dawg Cage. This was the very first episode. I think it went very well. My dog Form came through, showed love as he always do, supporting the page, man. Everybody who tuned in, man, make sure y'all like, rattle that cage. Share the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed to the video, hit that post notification on, man, and we will check y'all out on the next episode of the Dawg Cage, man. Appreciate everybody who came in once again. Peace.